Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Blue Collar Workers. I am, as always, John, Sean or Yahya.
I'm Chris.
And this is the Blue Collar Workers, where your voice and our nation matters most.
Reform. It's a ragbag, really. What's its philosophy? What's its purpose? What are its convictions? I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody talks about it. I don't hear lectures about the convictions and philosophy of reform.
He's getting the votes.
Well, let me come to that point.
Please watch to the end to have the conversation about John Major. Today we're doing something different. We're going to sit down and we're going to start asking some actual questions, and there's going to be a bit of back and forth between me and Chris. And I've wanted to try and play with the format of how we interact in our podcast deliberately, because I feel that we're kind of losing the essence of what it means to interconnect with each other. For me, I'm going to discuss matters specifically about how the right-wing press affects Britain, how it doesn't affect Britain, how billionaires are influencing our nation's politics, to be quite honest, and how I have a problem with that. I don't personally have a problem, Chris, with right-wing people being right-wing. I think that needs to be said up front. I don't have a problem with my countrymen being, I want this a certain way, culturally a certain way, systemically by a certain way. I have a problem with motherfuckers sat in ivory towers with shit tons of money in their pockets saying, I want the country to go this way, because I don't trust what that motherfucker's doing. Now, you saying I want my country in a certain political standing doesn't bother me. It doesn't, because I can have a conversation with you because we're at street level. Ivory tower motherfucker pointing down, that makes me suspicious immediately. What's his alternative agenda? Why? Because these motherfuckers, they don't like spending money. They don't like spending money. Why are they spending money like this?
This is a case of, if they're doing that, it's a case of, I spend a little bit of money here, I make 20 times that further down the road by inciting chaos at the lower level.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, what does right wing actually mean in Britain in 2026? It means shock jocks to me. It means Nigel Farage. Rupert fucking Rowe is a nutcase. Restore are crazy, and I stand by that, because they want to demigrate millions of human beings. Regardless of, me and you, we both agree, stop the boats now, build the infrastructure, integrate everybody, throw the criminals out the fucking door. Not a conversation.
That's
standard British behaviour.
Yeah, that's a case of, right, we have an issue, we need to pause everything, fix what we got, then reinstate the new system.
Exactly.
That's
just stop, rebuild, repair, then we can look at how the rest of the world after.
That's what I call fixing the problem in a sensible manner, not diving off the loony bin end at the right wing going, just no to everything, just kick them all out. We do not want them, thank you very much. And I'm just thinking, you're a nutcase, you need to go in the loony bin.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And the people who support Rupert Lowe are like that. There's an entirely different conversation with, we need to stop all migration, even marriage migration. I know that's painful to say. Me and you are probably going to be.
I can guarantee you, if you
we're going to be passport bros. Yeah. We're going to marry foreign. We fucking know this. You're laughing, but you know it's true.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, if you turn around and said to everyone that's coming over, obviously to get stuff via marriage and everything else, turn around and go, sorry, we'll pause it for a moment, but they explain we need to fix our current system so it then betters.
Absolutely.
It then betters us and you for when you actually do come over and do so.
Exactly.
And like literally 99.9% of them will go, okay, they're fixing the system, so it's then better for not only the place that we're going to, but for us as well. Won't have a single issue.
No, I agree. I agree. And I think that's a very definable point, because we have in this country a serious problem with what defines what it means to be on the right. You have the lunatics, and I do genuinely think that Nigel Farage is a lunatic. I won't call him right-wing, because he's not. You are semi-right. I am a central left, central right. I try to be an arch centralist, we both know this. I try to centre myself so I don't go drifting too far to the left, too far to the right. You want a culturally normal Britain. You want pay your taxes, mind your own business. What you do in your bedroom is none of my business. That's you. And that's always been you. And you don't give a fuck about someone's skin colour either. You never have.
And that's like, what you do in your house is your own business. You break the law, then you suffer the consequences.
Absolutely.
Straight
and that's what I would call traditional conservative values. Yeah. The problem being is we have people like Nigel Farage who live in La La Land, who just continues to roll out this ideological position of you can have your cake and eat it. It's all the migrants' problems. When, quite honestly, the migrants benefit our country. They benefit it in tax, they benefit it in labour, they benefit it in society, they benefit it in the growth of our population, because we do have a horrifically bad population. And me and you have talked about this.
Yeah.
We've had a conversation about how we would fix it. We've said that we'd design a birther card, build 500,000 of them, give them to British passport holding and birth certificate women, take off tax from each of their households.
Because then the ones that, as I call, want to participate in motherhood, because obviously not all women want to.
No, absolutely, and we're not a problem with that. But the women who do can be rewarded for it.
We need to incentivise the ones that want to go down that route. To be quite honest, whichever route you go down, fine, it's your choice. But literally securing future generations
is a very important part for
at the moment. Is important, not just for the UK. I need to say it's not just for the UK, but for the world.
Yeah, because we have a horribly low fucking birth rate.
Yeah, it's already been turned around that there are more people dying than there are being born, which means...
And this has a lot to do with the tax burden. This has an enormous point about it. And we have to be uncomfortable with talking about tax burden. I mean, it's a very important point of view, is who currently sets the agenda for right-wing politics. Is it politicians, newspapers, social media influencers, think tanks, or grassroots movements? I don't think it's any of those. I think
it's the corporations.
I think the corporations don't want any form of any real incentive, because we talk about tax reform all the fucking time. Me and you. We are very keen on saying the tax system absolutely has to be overhauled.
Yeah, it's shit. It doesn't. The only thing it benefits is the ones that have already got money.
And the ones that can basically buy accountants.
Yeah.
Where it's cheaper for them to pay for an accounting firm than it is to pay their tax. And that's lawful. And the problem being is, I know it irritates you and it irritates me, but that's actually legal. That legal loophole has to fucking go.
Needs to be axed.
Yeah, those are laws that need to judge us. And 115,000 fucking... No, I was wrong. I looked it up just recently. 118,000 pages of laws.
118,000?
See, that analyst I made, remember, it was back when we were doing our first podcast in 24.
Damn.
That's 118,000 fucking pages.
So you've added more.
Yeah, of course. Look at what Rachel Reeves has done to us. Of course they have, Chris. And they don't close down the old tax routes. That you can, that smart accountants, and I don't begrudge these accountants, can find the legal loopholes for them to use for whatever company you're in. Do it this way, do a tax haven, give your missus a free tax break or something like that. A certain amount of gifts. These are the people that do that, and that is the problem. There are too many. It's a woven network of loopholes. And that's why that video I sent you previously that said that there were thousands and thousands of millionaires that have left the country.
Yeah.
They were non-doms. They weren't paying fucking tax in the first place. And that made me angry. When there are people talking about, oh, we've lost 1,600 tax, 1,600 millionaires have fled the country, and Zelensky thinks that's good. It is good, because these fuckers weren't paying anything. They were literally like leeches. Fuck them.
They weren't paying anything to our society.
No, I'm sorry. I've got no time for anyone who isn't participating in our culture.
I'm going to say, if you find that many loopholes where you can turn around and basically not pay any tax at all, you can piss off.
Yeah. I've said it to you before in private. I say it in public. If you are not willing, as a billionaire, to put 45% of what you earn a year aside from my society, get the fuck out of my country.
Hence the reason why I turned around and said, let them choose where it goes.
Yeah, of course. You can make arrangements like that. But the idea that they're not paying is bollocks. And that other video that made me even more fucking angry, Chris, was when someone said, oh, I've spoken to all my entrepreneuric friends and we wouldn't even bother paying 25%. We wouldn't. Fuck you. Fuck you. Yes, you greedy motherfuckers. You use our roads, you use our infrastructure, you use our power grid, which are all falling a fucking part, let's be honest about this. And we need to talk about fucking nationalising the grids. And I've got some scary thoughts that Andy might not be the golden fucking child I thought he was. Last week, I've done some dives into this motherfucker, and it worries me about
that's something I will be covering over. There's something that literally, he hasn't even got into it yet, and there's something that he's already proposing, which...
Yeah.
I can understand the approach, but it's
absolutely.
A money grab.
Do you think a traditional conservatism movement is dead in Britain, Chris?
there is pockets of it, but due to the left viewpoint, yeah, and I'm going to say it the way the just whites are being demonised. It's being pushed. It's being buried.
So you think traditional conservatism is starting to die because of the demonisation of being our skin colour?
Yeah, regardless where you're from, not just the UK, from the entire Europe. From the only thing the thing that I'm starting to pick up is you want to establish roots, stability, and everything else for your family, which is basically the core of being a conservative. Everyone's demonising it because you're white. And then the moment a white person turns around and does racial slurs of anything else, they're called racists when you're being racist towards the white.
You see, I find that is massively stereotyped by the right-wing press. So the idea that we are being persecuted is bollocks. I need to put this. And the reason you feel that you're being persecuted, Chris, is because the right-wing press say so. They emphasise tiny pockets of communication and blow it up on pages because it benefits them to have race conflicts. They want tension between white people and other people because it sells newspapers. So when there is an example, and I used that lovely young lad, Henry Novak, as our example because we talked quite in depth when we were Count Deadliest with us. The point of the matter is that the outrage that is used by the right wing is very telling. Now, I'm not defending the left-wing demonisation because they do exist. They are cunts and fuck them. And you know, me and you are not that far from saying that in those. But there is also an emphasisation of taking the occasional bad fucking spots of actual anti-whiteism that goes on in the country and then exposing it blown up wise, like to another fucking level. And if that wasn't done for population, for financial benefit, for selling an agenda, you probably wouldn't feel that you're being demonised. You'd think there's a couple of bad problems, we need to solve them, but the left doesn't help itself. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't defend itself in that regard. And I think the question around traditional conservatism is eroding quite considerably because we've both been effectively card-carrying conservatives. We're not afraid of that. I'm more of a liberal Democrat these days. You float between the Liberals and a more of a hard Labour if Labour has a right fucking leader. The reason that I've moved away from Conservatives is because they gave birth to reform and then the death child fucking restore. And for me, that's too xenophobic, that's too racist, that's way away from tradition, that's now moving into psychopathic behaviour.
I abandoned them because they were going right. And I was like, and plus the fact that all they've done is they fucked the country over.
Yeah, 14
left, right,
years
and
it?
seven.
Yeah.
What really triggered it off was the Brexit shit. So
well, we were constantly lied to.
Yeah, because
and the cost of it.
They turned around and said, right, if you want to leave, we'll do this, this, and this. And today was all hoping that we're turning and go, no, we want to stay. And then when
the whole sections of the country said yes,
when literally the majority won, they didn't have a plan for it and botched the entire thing and fucked us over.
Now, talking about that was only 52%. No, I get it.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is the swing in that is 4%. Now, if we had a vote today, because of how they handled it, there would be a closer to 60 to 70% chance that we would vote to return to Europe. And I know you disagree with that, and so to Count Deadliest, you disagree for the legal reasons you like parliamentary sovereignty. I'm not shitting on any of the valued arguments that many Conservatives have about that. What I'm trying to get at is, if the country was given that decision today, because of the economical damage, we would move back to Europe by a 70% swing. And that is a massive change from what was a 4% swing to over a 24 or 20. I think the bottom end's around about 14%.
Yeah.
And the top end's around 24%.
Yeah, but it's gone back that way due to
how fucked up they've messed it.
How they dealt with the situation. Because personally, if you're going to put such a vote to the people, you need to have a plan for both scenarios. And I feel they was too confident in us voting to stay. And didn't set up a plan in case we left. Which to me is negligence. Straight up negligence.
Yeah, absolutely. And Boris Johnson joined the right because he knew it would win him power. And I agree. When Count Deadliest said that to us in our last episode, if you haven't seen the Count Deadliest, it's a fantastic video, please watch it. If Count Deadliest hadn't said that Boris was a vote leave for power, I wouldn't have looked a bit further into it to see it. And he's right. And the scary thing is he is fucking right about it. He has regularly put together that the country was hoodwinked. We were led down the garden path with no real aspect of a capacity of where we were going.
They gave us the option and didn't prepare for both outcomes.
No, of course not.
Not in
No
the
fucking
size,
idea.
and that's what really peeved me off.
And I think in many ways it wasn't so much that the north of the country, north of England, wanted to get out of the EU. I think they wanted to punish the metropolitan elites. I think it was more a backlash against the corporate elite who had ignored the towns in the north of the country for decades under European Union. Decades under it. I suspect it was a
consequence of your actions.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Has the rise of alternate online media weakened the influence of British traditional right-wing newspapers?
Well, since everything seems to be going to the complete far right and jumping off the edge with the parachutes, fucking too right.
Parachutes? You mean holes? They've been shooting the parachutes, they're coming down.
I think an even more better description is they've gone jumped off a cliff with the bungee rope and snapped back and go, well, I've changed my mind. Whoa, no, I changed it again. Whoa, changed it again.
Bungee cording politics. That's fucking brilliant. You heard it here. You heard it here with Chris at the Blue Collar Workers. The right move on bungee cord time. Love that. Fucking love it. For me, I think the traditional newspapers are much losing their power. People don't tend to buy print as much as they used to. In the shop I work in, the newspaper stand is predominantly purchased by elderly people. People older than me and you. And we're not young.
I was going to say, it tends to be the
retirees.
The older generation, because I think it's two ways. One, habits set in stone, because it's been the main way to get news. And two, due to everything moving online and not quite tech savvy. So
Yeah. As I said, the bulk of the newspaper stands sales. I almost never see anyone younger than me and you. So occasionally me and you age people picking up the Financial Times or the Guardian. They're the educated versions of us that we're just not. No,
I do see slightly younger ones. They do pick up that paper, which, to be honest, I don't see very many of them on the shelf.
No.
It's usually low numbers.
Yeah, no, of course, absolutely. And again, same with my shop. It's the nature of the fact that the newspapers are sold to an older generation, and the rest of us get our media from online. Yeah. And it is a massive, massive problem because it's a deeply unregulated territory.
And I think it is being
it has been weaponised.
I think it's been swayed by money making.
Oh, absolutely. And the money makers are swaying it for also their own
agenda,
financial agenda, more than ideological agenda.
Oh, how can I turn around and make it so it makes me more money? Oh, let's play on this emphasis to incite more chaos and to make me more money.
How much influencers do you think broadcasters, YouTubers, creators, podcasters reflect when they comparatively towards newspapers? I don't think we have the current impact individually as newspapers do individually, but we are catching them. We're on the rise up, but not there yet.
I say it is a developing sector. As called, it's a different approach to you getting your news, updates and everything else. So obviously, as technology advances and sways more into our favour, we're going to pick up pace, and the newspapers are going to drop. It's a transition.
Most printed newspapers now are dying horribly. I don't think
it's due to tech.
Yeah,
and progression. Let's get this right. It's progression of technology and of us as
society.
Species, society. So as we naturally get
in Western society, newspapers are still massive in Africa and other parts of the world.
In the ones that are more based within the technology side, it's going to progress more that way due to the fact the way that the country's going. Obviously, in the lesser developed worlds, it's going to be more based on the ways that we used to. Hence the reason why I've known several people which have gone to other countries where it's more like our role-based technology and it's like a blast from the past.
Oh yeah. Some of my very close friends were in New Zealand. What you'd expect to be quite a Western country. Newspaper is still massive over there. The internet is nowhere near as large in some of the New Zealand towns because New Zealand is a very sparsely populated country.
And it's just an island off
Australia. Yeah.
And it's not a very big island as well.
But it's quite long. It's a beautiful land, Chris.
From my take of New Zealand, it's one of those things where if you want to basically try to disconnect as much as possible but still keep a glimmer of tech,
New Zealand would be the place to go.
New Zealand would be the place. I'm not going to lie. If when I get to retirement age and I want to fuck off, guess where I'm going?
New Zealand. Chris, that's white man riding country. I kid you not. You buy horses, you can ride up and down. The Rohirrim came from there, fucking Lord of the Rings. I would love to ride up and down that country. Those mountains, the fucking valleys, absolutely. White man riding country, New Zealand, unquestionably. And I did that deliberately for all the left wingers who were going to scream at me. Because as much as I love Maori culture, and I know something of Maori culture, I know how to do the hakate. I had a New Zealand Maori teacher. They were and always have been a very tiny part of the New Zealand population. And for the amount of people they had, they've never really had the population to truly evolve into a large nation. So yeah, it would be white man riding country. And if people are offended by that, be offended. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and apologise for saying that that's somewhere where you can go riding quietly without causing problems to the world. Fuck everyone who has problems.
That's probably why it hasn't advanced much, because they're like, we could do this and not make a ripple anywhere, and we don't care.
yeah, absolutely. Has the right successfully identified the issues that matter most in the working class voters? Immigration, cost of living, crime, housing, national identity. I don't think so. They hyper focus on immigration. They don't focus enough on crime and housing. They don't pay attention to the cost of living at all. And national identity, they play politics with it. And that's my problem. If they concentrated on housing and cost of living, they might actually get further.
Might. Yeah. Let's get it right. Get it right for the right. If they was to actually turn around and discuss that topic, I'd have a feeling they would plagiarise it massively.
Yeah, so do I. I don't disagree with you because it's a very technical kind of area. They're unwilling to look at the costs of housing.
And what I've seen is the extreme right is going, I want to be all white and everyone else can bugger off.
Yeah.
Just imagine if they stuck their foot in the housing market. I see them turn around and going back to good old fashioned
white areas only.
White and black areas only. This is frigging
segregation.
Instead of bringing us forward into everyone is British regardless of what
your skin colour is, race,
yeah,
religion.
Yeah, it'll take us back.
Oh yeah,
well back, far.
If someone
back.
like Rupert Lowe wins in the country will collapse. Absolutely. And I don't think people realise how much of our infrastructure and society is propped up. You can kiss goodbye to Ubers. You can kiss goodbye to nursing homes, deliveries. You can kiss goodbye to if they think Britain's sewage industry is fucking on its knees now, it will be dead without migrants. Migrants make up 70% of the sewage industry today.
It's because they want the work and it's still better than where they come from.
Yeah, of course. And let me be fair, Chris. Me and you, we would want to own sewage trucks. We wouldn't want to run them. Do you know what I'm saying? We like the money that it makes. We don't want to be in the business.
I'll be the one sat in the office doing the paperwork. You'll be the one directing the cruise.
You know what I'm saying? And even that, me directing the cruise is too much. I'm going to want a fucking face mask. Do you know what I'm saying? I walk in and there's a linger to you, John. There's a linger. It's some deodorant.
You walk in, just get a stink bomb. That still smells better than you.
Fucking, it is, and the problem being is no one wants to do those dirty jobs, and they do exist. And we're not talking about fruit pickers. Because that's the fucking problem. The right always bang on about the fruit pickers. It's not the fucking fruit pickers.
As far as I remember, the fruit pickers
are seasonal migrants. Very seasonal.
Seasonal moments, and it has everyone of every skin colour.
Yeah. And more importantly, it's being replaced by drones. The picking business is being replaced by drone technology faster than we'll probably need them. That's one of those jobs that's mindless and repetitive that you know that drones can do. So it's never been the thing. I think what people are failing to understand is that the people who are building out, taking our garbage, cleaning our sewers, emptying the trash cans, looking after your grandparents, safeguarding the streets at night, opening the kebabis and various other shops, nail salons, hair fucking dressers, barbers, for fuck's sake. Any decent barber is Turkish or Cypriot. I'm sorry, I have to say, I'm tired of people going to English barbers and thinking they're anything. They're not, they're garbage. Okay? Snip, 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 that'll be £30, please. Motherfucker, what do you do to my hair? You walk into a fucking Turkish barber, don't worry, and make sure you look magnificent, clips your hair, does your beard, you walk out, you feel like a new fucking man, and it only cost you 10 quid shorter. I'm sorry. I need to start getting away from people thinking that we don't benefit from multiculturalism. We massively do.
Like I said with the barber thing, I can't help it. I get to a white fart.
I don't. I like to be. I don't even go to barbers that often.
And that's only because of the fact it's the one that's local to me, not due to anything else. It's like it's the closest one. I can't be bothered to travel.
Yeah, that's fine. If I took you to a proper Turkish barber and they looked after you, you'd walk out and you'd hover. I know how you like to be pampered. You'd be like, I'm coming back here, I'm spending the petrol. I'm telling you, you'd be converted because I know what a little fucking girl you can be when it comes to your self-care. You are far more about it than I am. You're like, I like to smell good, I like the right clothes. You make peach fucking wearable. Alright? I couldn't wear peach and it fucking saved my life. You can wear peach. You know what the fucking colour lavender looks like, I haven't got a clue. Laugh all you like, you cunt. You know I'm true.
I do own a lavender shirt.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't. It's black, brown, and you very recently just saw my green top, which my sister sent me. Because that was his first fucking comment. You didn't buy that, did you? This motherfucker's never seen me out of black. But no, I think that they don't get the real problems in Britain because they are problems. Housing is a problem. Cost of living is a problem. Crime is starting to become a problem. It's like a serious fucking problem now. I think crime is starting to replace immigration.
Part of it is because of the fact they've changed
how it's enforced and how few fucking coppers we've got now.
They've changed the petty theft rules. It has to be over £200 before you even consider being.
Because they've got the cops to deal with it.
Yeah, which I'm like, why? That's just encouraging.
Yeah, of course.
Theft. If they know that in order for you to be prosecuted straight like that, you need to do over £200 worth of theft. That says to me someone could turn around, rock up at a petrol station, fill their car up, go in, take about 30 quid's worth of stuff, and fuck off and still not even touch 150 quid.
You see, now that's where you're wrong, because I happen to know this. The prosecution of the petrol stations is far different. If you make a drive-off with petrol, the courts and law systems are still very fucking hard on it. They'll actually pursue you. The cameras, the petrol companies, they are very tight with their money because their margin levels. They don't want that level. So they'll move their cameras. Their lawyers will moan at police and the police will have to move to deal with it. That's the difference. If you were to go into a supermarket, walk off with 100 quid's worth of fucking steaks, nothing's going to happen. Petrol is different because the fuel companies don't want that to become normal.
There is systems in place for it, I know that.
Oh, there probably is, but it's not a common thing. Going into supermarkets, it's common people nicking 100 quid's worth of steaks or meat.
Why is it steaks?
Because they're the fastest thing to move on the streets.
Is that purely it?
Yeah.
Meat is
No, steak. No, specifically steak. You can walk into any pub in Bristol quietly, go up to a bar and say, do you want to buy a steak off the market? And it's gone. The black market for steak is one of the fastest things moving out there. So steak is a primary theft item because of how quickly it will move through the underworld.
And it's quite easily untraceable.
Yeah. Because once you've sliced off the labelling, that lot, if it looks like a 30-day thing rump, the country is so inundated by knowing what something looks like and how clean it is that even the criminals are throwing away bad meat. They know they've got to shift it. So if they say, I'll give you a rump, a proper fucking 9-ounce rump for a tenner, Chris, you won't ask. You're in a pub, you've had a couple of pints, you go, oh, tenner, fucking have that. That's a round of fucking pints. I'll just shove that in there for my lunch tomorrow. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's how they operate. And that's how they move stakes. And that's why if you steal £100 fucking worth of steak, it's gone. It's done. You know, enforcement aren't going to catch it. It ain't worth the policeman's time because the policeman has to deal with real serious crimes. And I emphasise, I agree with the police's needs to deal because there is an epidemical problem with rape, murder, drug addiction, child abuse. We need to solve those. Yeah, we also need cops to deal with the little shit.
I'm going to say that's where you'd be thinking, right, if I've got an issue here, how can I deal with the little issues? There's only one clear solution. I need more people.
Yes, of course. But they seem to think that they can do it with technology, that drone technology and fucking facial recognition technology allows them to do this. And that is invasive in society.
But then even if you go off that basis of facial recognition and drone technology, you still need the manpower
to operate those cameras.
To operate the cameras, the drones, the computers, and then the people, and then the manpower to go out and arrest them.
Mm.
So regardless whichever aspect you go down, you need the manpower.
Oh,
if they're already struggling with what they currently got, how do you expect to advance?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
It's simple. To improve it, you need the manpower.
So I'm going to move off of right-wing politics for a bit. Should the UK worry about the hedge fund manager as the top advisor of Andy Burnham?
Yes.
James Purran is the top advisor to Andy Burnham's questions.
The fact that you immediately started off about the hedge fund, that means there's only...
Your alarm bells went immediately.
There's only one thing that's in his mind. Money.
Your alarm bells. And he's the top civil servant for Andy Burnham.
Another fucking alarm bell.
Should someone who recently led a lobbying and public affairs firm, hedge funds, appointed as one of the most powerful advisors to Downing Street?
As soon as you mention another flag word, lobbying. Lobbying again. What the fuck is it with lobbying?
Oh, Chris, I love this. He lobbied for Israel.
Oh, he could go stick his head up his own fucking ass. Yeah.
The top advisor, James Purnell, was a lobbyist for companies from Israel.
Right. For people that turn around and say, oh, you've been discriminating against Israel. Anyone that lobbies for someone that is committing any sort of genocide or war-based fucking
crimes.
shit.
No.
Yeah?
No. Even if Chris is being cynical and says that they're not war crimes and it's not genocide and they're just killing a few thousand children, you don't want to do business with them.
The fact that you're participating in killing off innocents, regardless of who the fuck they are, before anyone starts kicking off, yeah? Straight off the way, you can stick your head up your own ass, crawl up your own insides, and vanish off the fucking place of the earth. I do not give a shit. You're encouraging death of people
who can't defend themselves.
Who can't defend themselves. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very British bottom line.
Yeah.
It's not even the question of Palestine or Jew or anything like that. It's you're killing innocent people who can't defend themselves. You're already, I don't want to do business with you.
You're killing innocents. Straight off, if I was in power and I found that you'd be turned around, hung up, and I would come up myself with a knife and gut you.
Yeah.
If anything, I'd do it even worse. I'd have you hung with the thing,
with the worst thing.
No, with the trap there. So as soon as that trap is released, there is a knife. So as you drop, it slices and your guts fall on the floor. Dude would not give a shit.
I think certain evil needs to be cut out of society, and unfortunately,
with a bunch of pigs at the bottom, ready just to devour.
Oh, my man went with the pigs. No, the swine attacks.
And then just to rub it in, I would then slaughter those pigs and feed it to your accomplices and families that supported you doing those acts. As a thing going, you set a pig which just ate your.
Oh my God!
Just to rub it in.
You are one twisted mother. We do not endorse violence, just so the podcasters can tell. We're just talking about our disgust at what's going on. I want to caveat, we do not condone any form of violence, neither me nor...
Bear in mind, I would make that legal only for the extreme cases, because I would class it as a form of treason. Yeah? Once you committed treason, that's it. Cards are off the table, you're dying horribly.
Oh, Jesus Christ. How much should the public know about the clients and work undertaken by a senior political advisor before they enter government?
Complete transparency.
What? Controversy. You know, that's a very left-wing view. Well, apparently that's a very left-wing view.
How are you supposed to know how it's going to go unless you know what that person's goals and aims are?
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. That's what makes you very British about it, Chris.
Because of the fact, if you don't know the train of thought of that person, how do you know in which way he's going to steer the politics of the country?
Where should the line be drawn between bringing experienced people into government and preventing the revolving door between politics and lobbying? You see, now this is where I disagree entirely that lobbying should ever have any part in government.
No, lobbying shouldn't have any part.
I mean, me and you are on the page when we say lobbying should be outlawed.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a direct.
It changes the aspect of where politics goes then. So, in fact, if the politician goes, I want to reform the tax system, bring down the cost of living, make sure companies and whatnot pay their fair share of tax, so I can then turn around and fix the hospitals, the roads, the national, the energy network, the rail network, and all that. Immediately, that's making sure that the public, for the country that you're in, is getting safe, sustainable living. As soon as lobbyism is involved, it's all about money. Not
necessarily.
Money.
It comes to the next question, which I was very careful with, Chris, to you. Would this appointment be judged differently if the advisor had been a lobbyist for working for trade unions, charities, or campaign groups instead of a large corporation?
I would still limit the access.
You see, I'm the opposite opinion here. I think that they unconditionally should not have any. There should be no lobbyists. We should not need lobbyists for trade unions, charities. They should be publicly open access. That you as a minister should be able to be talked to. You're the minister talking to what trade unions, basically, Chris.
Yeah.
So you're a junior minister. You go talk to the trade unions, then you come back to Parliament and answer what the trade unions want. And that's not lobbying. That's access to the public.
I would say that's. Hence, as I said, limited access. They'd only go through one channel,
and that channel wouldn't be part of government.
And that channel would relays with government, but then a different set of people would then turn around to make the decision.
Yeah.
Because the fact you would have your point of contact, you can that thought. Or
would you go the same way with business in that same method, or do you think business needs a big hammer taken to it away from government?
No, I'll do the same thing. Lobbyism and business have their channels to go to the government. Then the decision is then made by
independent,
by a board of people, the public, of whether it's a correct course of action or not.
And the problem is, we live in a digital age, Chris, where we can actually have these kind of conversations.
I'm going to say you don't even have to all meet up in the same place. It could be a case of the fact of you log in via Zoom call, send the emails, whichever way it is that you communicate online.
I fundamentally find that senior advisors, such as the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, should have an incredible level of transparency and disclosure, requiring them to do their job. I feel that there isn't, because we had a McSweeney, we had a fucking Madelson because of the lack of transparency.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but the top levels need to be completely fully transparent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I mean, for me, it's a very prudent thing. The thing that led to the fall of Keir Starmer, an excellent foreign secretary, a dreadful prime minister. We've never changed our opinion on that. You know, decent foreign secretary. If he'd stayed a foreign secretary, he'd have had our praises. He didn't. He was basically a fucking useless domestic prime minister, and probably one of the most hated MPs in British history, which is hard behind Liz Truss, hard behind Boris Johnson. I think the only person who can beat Keir Starmer will be if my country's stupid enough to put Nigel Farage in charge. And that man will fuck our country hard enough that as much as I love Britain, I might consider leaving. But probably only to Scotland. Because, you know, I can't leave. I love my people too much. Maybe Scotland. Just to get, because our cousins up the north, they'll defend us. Yeah, come up here, you dainty fucking Englishman. You can imagine the Scots. Yeah, stick your Lars. I fundamentally think that Britain likes to self-harm itself with politicians and advisors. What qualities should matter most in choosing Downing Street's Chief of Staff? Political experience, management ability, private sector experience, or independent from vested interests? For me, it's the last one.
You need the first three.
Oh, political experience, management ability, and private sector experience.
No, not minus the public sector.
Private sector.
Private sector.
Okay.
Because the fact the private sector, that means you're after money.
Yeah.
The others, not too heavy on one, but experience in all of them.
Yeah.
Because of the fact you've gained the knowledge from each sector. Because in order to be Prime Minister, you need knowledge, you need experience. Whether that's through the fact that you have it or you have your cabinet members with the experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But as soon as it comes into the private sector, I'll literally be turning around and going, I'll be discussing you on financial matters only because that's your area of interest. Because everything else is pointless with you because it will relate back to money.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where, to be honest, that is where I would, if I was in charge, I'd potentially have a chancellor that's come from the private sector.
Yeah, of course.
They understand money.
I fundamentally believe that chancellors should stay in the chancellors, the treasuries. That's where money should stay.
Yeah.
But the fact that money is infiltrated, we get private sector fucking advisors to the prime minister of our entire country. You have corporate interests in the NHS fucking minister, the minister of health, has private sector fucking people, and that really narks me. And that comes into my last set of questions before we move over to your side, Chris. State pensions. Will the UK state pension will be here in 2075?
That's very much up in the air. Because it honestly depends on
how the structure of our country is in 4 years. Yeah.
Because of the fact, if we turn around and do a U-turn and stabilise ourselves, then yes, it will still be there.
Under the current system, Chris, do you think the UK can continue to afford the state pension as people are living longer and the population ages?
We'll tax ourselves into oblivion, so no.
No, I don't think so.
And we won't see a penny of it. So the government would take the tax and then do something else with it entirely. I don't know, maybe fund a war somewhere else or give money to somewhere else instead of investing in our own country.
Yeah, no, I agree with
The
you.
ministers that turn around and say, oh, we need to raise 100 billion in tax to fund X, Y, and Z elsewhere, instead of turn around and go, no, we need 100 billion in tax to reform the NHS and turn around and make it better.
Of course. Should the state pension age continue to rise, and if so, where should it stop? We're not living longer. Very few people are reaching a century these days. In fact, I think we've passed the golden point of 100 years.
What's our average?
83, no, 82 for women, 79 something for men. I think that's the average for the age at the moment. Let's have a quick look. 83 for women, 79.1 years for men. That's scary, Chris. We're only fucking 30 years away from when me and you clock off. Don't make me. You don't.
It's just literally. I'm just going to round it off. It's basically 80 years for everybody.
Yeah.
That obviously, they're basing that off of general things. Obviously, I know some people live longer and everything else, but if the average is 80, yeah,
and that hasn't changed, and that hasn't changed in decades.
Honestly, if the average lifespan's 80, if anything, we should be reducing the retirement age. The last 20 years of your life should be.
And what's the retirement age at the moment? 63, 64? Or
65 at the moment.
65.
And raising.
Yeah,
and rising.
I fundamentally think that the state pension, I have a personal opinion that we are not going to fix our system before the state pension collapses. I have the opinion that the state pension and the state pension system is going to buckle under its own weight.
Remember when they turned around and they were saying after a certain age,
you can still earn money.
They stopped the state pension for certain people after a certain age.
Yeah,
They've already done that. So
yeah.
in this case, it's already limited to when you were born already. Hence the reason why they then introduced the work pension scheme. Yeah, that is the new state pension.
I fundamentally stand by the approach that the state pension is going to collapse as a national thing.
It's not going to collapse. It's going to change. Hence the reason why the moment they turn around and said, obviously your pension is tied in with your paycheck. So obviously your employer puts in a set amount already.
Mm-hmm.
Then the moment you turn around and put in a set amount as well, they match it. So say, for example, you stick in 20 quid, they'll stick in 20 quid. That's £40 a month into a pension, yeah? Obviously, you have the option to add more.
Mm-hmm.
That is your state pension. Let's get this right for the younger generation. That workplace pension, yeah, is your state pension.
Because the old state pension is just going to buckle.
They've already turned around and smacked a barrier straight in. Since you're born after this date, you're not getting state pension, and they've put in workplace pensions. So that is the new state pension. Let's get this perspective correct. It's not a case of are we keeping the state pension? It's already changed. It's whether we're going to be able to keep the current state pension that we got, that's going until it runs out, which is going to be the way the economy is going. It's going to be a flat no.
Yeah. Is the current triple lock sustainable?
No.
No, of course it's not. Me and you have had a conversation off camera about this more than once. The current triple locking system is just not sustainable in British
The
society.
only reason we got the triple lock system is so they can gain more tax.
The
If you look into it carefully, it is a tax grab and a subtle tax grab.
And the problem being is the triple lock system was designed to keep certain elements of the elderly inside the Conservative voting bloc.
Yeah.
That's the reason behind it. It was a purchase of the older bloc to protect their interests.
With a side tax grab.
Yeah. Should the younger generation expect to receive a state pension, or should they plan as though it won't be there? And as you've already just said,
Plans, it won't be there.
it won't be there.
It won't be there because it's already been set in stone that if you're born after a certain date, you're not getting it.
Should wealthier pensioners who have saved and looked after themselves still receive a state pension as everyone else, or should it become means tested? So
if they've paid in, because the state pension is from the national insurance.
yeah,
So if they paid into it, yes.
of course. But
It's a very simple argument. If you paid into national insurance, you get the state pension. Which it should apply to the younger ones because they pay national insurance as well. But unfortunately, they've had to change it because at some point the pot's going to run dry.
what reforms would you take to the state pension system? And this is one of those ones that I knew I wanted to post towards you.
You might find this completely controversial. Should be scrapped.
You dissolve the state pension.
Yes.
And the national insurance cost towards
Yes.
it for the British people.
Scrap national insurance, scrap state pension, and make it mandatory that the company pays at least £50 a month into a pension pot for you.
Move the burden to the cost of the corporate man. Banish national insurance. You know, I could get behind that. I really could. I could see the benefit for the working people.
And then obviously they put a minimum of 50 quid in. Obviously you can obviously have the chance to match it yourself as well. But then if you pay more in, they're not matching it because they've already put in 50 quid in.
Yeah. Well, those are my questions, Chris. Let's go over to your side, my man. We've covered quite a lot of what I was expecting today. I'm very pleased with these. I think these have gone down really well. You had some controversial points on mine. Your turn, my boy.
Rachel Reeves.
Oh my God, his fucking nemesis.
What are your thoughts on that? She has stabilised the economy.
She has, from the Conservatives. And I don't like her, you don't like her. But when you got to take it to a point after 14 years of rabid fucking incompetence, anybody realistically, Chris, could have fixed the economy if they were semi-competent. And even you must admit Rachel Reeves is semi-competent. And that's why she makes you angry.
I think the way she's gone about it is completely...
No, completely. But I actually, yes, I do. I feel because of how bad the system was, how fucking disastrous the system was. Me and you have good memories. I remember voting for David Cameron, being quite pleased with David Cameron. And then he did that disaster of Brexit, and I hated the cunt. And then we got Boris Johnson, Theresa fuck May, head of lettuce.
That leads into my next one. Because of the fact you think she's obviously stabilised the economy, do you think the way she's gone about it has been correct?
No, absolutely not. She could have done it far better. But it's hard not to fix the problem that the Tories have given us. And it's not. Because, we were hemorrhaging shit everywhere because of Tory rapid fucking incompetence. And to be fair, and I want to say this, and I will stand up this, I think Rishi Sunak was one of the best of a bad bunch. I still defend him to this day.
Lesser of two evils.
Lesser of all the evils. I don't think he was better than Keir Starmer. I don't like Keir Starmer, but I don't think he was better than Keir Starmer. I think he was trying to stop the bleeding after most of the blood had left the fucking system. Do you know what I'm saying? He was trying to put life support back in the fucking system, but was fighting, he was going to lose. So when we're talking about, yes, she fixed it, because there was no other way. At that point, they were on the fucking line, and it was building up. The growth hasn't been enough. The societal repair hasn't been enough for the damage we've suffered from 14 years of Tories.
Because in fact, obviously, I'm not going to lie, it seems to be the fact that, well, we've already discussed it in the past. The only way they've seemed to have fixed it is by taxing the flying shit out of us.
Yeah, of course. And they haven't taxed the
Despite
companies.
the fact that they turned around and said they will not increase the tax burden upon the public. And
No. The slimy bastards, they said that. They said of the base tax. That's the important. They've introduced many new taxes. They're cunning little fuckers like that.
I was going to say, they said...
Yes, I agree with you. That's exactly what they promised.
Yeah.
But they were promising that on the base tax system. They've just invented new taxes. And it's pissed us all off.
Yeah, one of them, 22% tax on stock ISAs. So if you have a stock ISA, I think it's, I'm not sure it's 2027 or 2028, you're going to get taxed 22% on any stock ISAs you got.
To be fair, I think we need to start seriously talking about wealth taxes in the country, where 1 or 2% of the country's tax needs to be taken out of billionaires' earnings universally, so that they are paying the reason I say this is the argument I support is, and I don't think this is that left wing to be honest, is that some nurses pay more taxes than fucking billionaires in this country, and I have a distinct problem with that.
But that's where, obviously, you've discussed obviously reform the tax system.
Yeah.
That's where you would get rid of the loopholes, turn around and set a base of if you earn this much, you pay this much, you pay this much tax, you earn this much, you pay...
And this is the thing that Count Deadliest also agrees with us. If you pay under... Like, I don't think anybody under 30 grand should be paying taxes. I generally don't. I think the tax bracket should start above 30 grand. Because 30 grand, people aren't living on 30 grand, Chris. They're surviving.
I think they should be, but not a huge amount. I think it should be a case if you're earning under 100,000, you pay a small amount of tax. Because you still got to contribute to society, yeah. Because as much as I like to turn around and say, oh yeah, if you earn under 30 grand, you're not paying tax. You're going to create a huge pothole.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Because when you take into account how much is taxed from the under 30s, I think it's like the less than about. Isn't a vast amount of our population. That's what people think.
Yeah, but bear in mind, if we reinvent the tax system, I'm abolishing council tax.
Yeah,
I'm abolishing national insurance.
Yeah.
The amount of things I'm going to abolish. I'm abolishing fucking road tax.
Yeah.
So hence the reason why it's a case of if we reform
because we're reforming that you pay one tax.
Yeah, you pay
through the
one
year.
tax for everything. Yeah. So it's literally getting rid of all those little supplemented taxes. Just wiping them off the map. So, if you get £2,000 every paycheck and you pay, I'm going for just an example here, 10%.
So 200 quid out of your
so
tax.
200 quid, out of your paycheck every month for tax.
That's 24 grand. So you're basically taking 10% off 24 grand earners, which are part-time students, which they shouldn't be paying more than that, to be honest.
Yes, which that's
and single mums.
That's £1,200 a year in tax. Yeah?
No, it's not.
No, a bit more. 1,400. Sorry, 1,400. Sorry.
No, 1,200, Chris.
No, it's a bit more.
It's 2,400.
Yeah, there we go.
2,000.
Got too many.
You double it, mate.
Yeah, I've got too many numbers in my head. But literally, you're paying a core. By the time you've actually paid national insurance, council tax, and everything else, it's roughly that anyway, or just a tiny bit more than that.
And I think because so many people under 30 grand, there are so few of them, it would allow them to move. And once you move into above 30 grand, you then start paying what I would consider an adult tax. Do you know what I'm saying?
I want to know how many people's actually.
There aren't that many under 30 grand, Chris. They're not a big chunk of our population. About 33. Jesus Christ, it's more than I thought it was. Fuck me, that's a huge amount of the population.
That's the reason why I said.
No, you understood it better than I did. I thought it was a small portion. Because me and you, we're over the 30 mark. I think we're the base. I think we're the base.
No. When it comes to me and you, we are not the base. We're not the base at all.
I thought we were the base.
We're not the base at all.
That's huge.
Approximately 45 to 50% are under 30k a year. Yeah, hence the reason I'm like, you can't turn around and say you
Yeah,
can't
no, I
tax them.
genuinely
Yeah.
thought it was less. I thought it was like
Yeah.
maybe. I thought it was students, single mums. You know, Jesus Christ, that's
Hence
mad.
the reason I was like, no, you can't do that. Hence the reason I said you'll create a hole.
Yeah, no, I would.
Yeah.
Because my understanding of how many people are in that bracket is just fucking huge.
You'd create a hole, and a very fucking big hole. Yeah.
No, it would.
Hence the reason I'm like, anyone under 100 grand
Yeah.
pays obviously the lowest amount of tax. Then if you go into
100 grand, 150.
No, I'll go 100 to 200.
Yeah.
Then 200 to 300.
Yeah.
300 to 400. Anything over 400, I'm sorry, you're getting like 45 to 50.
No. See, that's where the ceiling should be 45.
Yeah.
No one should pay more than 45%.
Hence the reason I'm like 45 to 50, because obviously it'd be depending on
Because the way
what you're taxing the other brackets would depend on what the top one is.
Yeah.
Because it might be just, I'll probably say.
And the reason I say that is because if you just do that one tax,
Yeah.
and the rest of their money is safeguarded, and inheritance tax, that's something that should fucking go.
No, they'd be abolished. They'd be abolished straight off the fucking
Because
bat.
I find anybody should be passing money to their family that they've saved and looked after is genuinely should be their families.
Yeah, because of the fact, if
And that's the fundamental why my family didn't sell the house. That we've built a living will for the house to pass down through the family to avoid that.
I'm going to give a bit of advice to people here now, that ones that face the potential of getting obviously slapped by inheritance tax, and to the people that are going to pass off that money or whatever, and they're afraid they're going to get hit by inheritance tax. Give it to them before you die.
Yeah. That is a good advice. That is good advice. But if you can't, if it's like locked in family holdings,
if it's locked
living
in
trust is fucking unbelievable.
Say, if it's locked in something, switch the name of who's in charge of it before you die.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the loophole. There's the legal loophole for us lower people.
Yeah.
Which I know the upper people use.
Yeah. Or they hold them in living trusts.
I'm gonna say all living trusts. If you know how it operates, go that route.
Yeah.
I mean, switch the name, because I know it's controversial. Obviously, your parents.
It's not even controversial, Chris. Like my dad had a 6-bedroom house in London, which he bought in the 80s. That's not controversial. That's a hard-working Irishman that bought property in London when it was fucking affordable.
I know it may be controversial for the older generation. I don't want to give over my stuff until I die. The chances are, if you wait for that now, your kids and grandkids won't see it.
No, they won't.
Because of the fact that you say, I'm giving you this property, but then you got to pay inheritance tax on that property. Most people end up selling that property because they can't afford the inheritance tax to pay for the inheritance tax.
Yeah. It's mad. And I think that the older generation need to start understanding that. Yeah, I've worked hard to build this house, but if I want to pass it to my kids, I've got to make sure
you've got to act before you pass.
And it's not even that expensive to call in a lawyer and say, I'm living here, but it's legally in my children's name, and until I die, they can't do anything with it.
Yeah, I was going to say that's on the baseline of the.
And that legal charge isn't even that expensive.
It's a little legal contract you can conjure up with your kids. Even though I'm handing this over to you, I'm written it within a proper sustainable contract that nothing happens to this house while I'm still alive and living in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And apart from the very few percentage of extremely greedy kids, rest of them be like, no, that's fine, you safeguarded yourself and you're passing it to us after without us having to face a fee at the end of it. It's
Absolutely.
done, because then obviously your kids, grandkids will then get what's left in your bank account, or ISAs or shares or whatever you got.
Yeah. No.
Which, to be quite honest, if you've got enough in those to get charged inheritance tax, start spending it. Give it as cash gifts to the people that you love. see the benefit before you pass.
No, completely.
That's my thought. Obviously, not everyone
completely.
that thought.
Completely. I personally think that the inheritance tax and a lot of the actual loopholes and materials that go around it need to be severely restructured. The whole thing, as we and you have discussed before, if it doesn't have a justifiable, we need to calculate what me and you call, I say a 3-tier tax system, you say a 5-tier tax system. We need to calculate something like that to work out how much it would generate, how much we'd need to fill the holes via trade, and then basically build a proper model. Once that model's built, I think it would work a lot fairer. And I don't believe that billionaires and billionaire companies will leave because they make this bluff, and I do believe it is a bluff. Oh, we'll go elsewhere. My response is, fuck off then. Because someone will come into Britain. It is a country of nearly 70 million people in a magnificent fucking area of Europe that is genuinely geopolitically very stable in this unstable time. A nuclear armed country that is never going to give up its nuclear arms, with admittedly a dwindling military force, but still protected under a nuclear umbrella. Companies will come here.
Now, see, when it comes to obviously the business side of the taxes, I'm just doing 2 tiers straight off the bat.
Millionaires and billionaires, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm not.
Does your company make millions or does it make billions?
It might be 3 actually.
Okay.
Yeah. One would be under $1 million because you do have those small businesses.
Yeah.
You need to protect small businesses.
Yeah.
We'll pay a certain percentage. Over $1 million to, I'd more likely say probably 500 million. You pay another different percentage of tax.
Yeah.
Anything over 500 million, you're talking into massive multimedia corporations. You will be on the higher tax bracket.
Yeah, of course. And I believe the ceiling should not exceed 45%.
I mean, that's where it would be 45%
Yeah.
on the business. Like if you're earning over 500 million, you're paying that 45%.
Yeah.
Under that, between
And
million,
everybody else is under that bracket.
I say between $1 million and 500 million, roughly floating around the 30% bracket.
Yeah.
Easily. This is where people turn and go, well, why so low? Under $1 million, it would be about between 20 and 25.
You see, that's what the entrepreneuric point is. But many entrepreneurs tend to have multi-stacked businesses that make them millions. And then they say that individual business is only making 25%. What do you do when I have 5 or 6 businesses to my name, but they all make under £1 million and I'm only paying 25% on each of them? Do you bill me, the owner, or do you bill each of the individual businesses?
I'd build the businesses. I'd get more money.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
If you've turned around and you've got 10 businesses all making under £1 million and I'm charging you 25% tax, I'm going to get more money out of those 10 businesses than turn around and slam them all into one, which will turn them into a slightly higher tax bracket and I get less money.
Yeah, no, I see where you're going with that, Chris. I like it.
I've already cancelled that out, loophole, you little bastards.
No. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate when we talk about tax system.
Because when it comes to tax system, if it's a business, it's based upon that business, not the person running the business. Yeah. Because in fact, I'm trying to separate the two. When it's personal, you get the personal one. When it's business, it's the business, not to the person running the business.
So my next question is, if I, as the entrepreneur, own 10 businesses,
you're going to get a tax bill for each business.
And then do I get a tax bill?
If you take a wage.
If I take a wage. So what do we do when we come to shares though, Chris? How do we deal? Because Elon Musk is the first trillionaire because he doesn't have a salary.
That's the one I ain't finalised yet because I'm still looking into it.
That's cool. And I mean, that level of honesty, Britain, is a very important fucking point to hold. How do you deal with the shareholding trillionaire?
I'm going to say, when it comes to shares, it becomes very technical and trying to find just the base
line.
You
see, now for me, I would say a 10% of the value of the shares should be placed as a tax. Maybe 5%. Fuck it. If you're changing hands of the shares, 5% tax.
It's trying to get that baseline. Once you've worked out how it all comes about, because it gets very technical, you could then set the baseline. Because you need that baseline.
Because the ability, because people use those shares as liability for their businesses to buy assets.
I know they turn around to basically the people that use shares basically are in debt.
Yeah, always, all consistently in debt. We know.
Because they use those shares as leverage to take out loans and everything.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
And that's what I would want to eliminate.
Yeah, and I think that needs to either be made illegal, and that debting industry needs to be made illegal, or it needs to actually receive some actual full-scale regulation. And I don't care if that's called left-wing. I believe that if money isn't working for society, money does no business being in society. If your massive corporations are in my country and you're not benefiting my society, you stay entirely out of my society's business. So I'll give you an example. If Microsoft, you just messed my PC, you did.
Did I? Oh, so it does work then.
Yeah, it does.
That was me putting it in the wrong slot then. I've got 30,000 slots.
Oi, that's about your sex life.
Edit that fucker out.
He likes them Thai boys. I'm gonna edit that one. I might not actually. I might leave it in. Just for the giggles. You like them lady boys, do you, Chris?
You bring one of those, you're going to see some violence and throwing up at the same time. Alright?
And then punches being thrown at me.
It'll be the lady voice thrown at you.
No, Gwen! I'm gonna kill you!
Right, on the basis before the lady voice, obviously when you said obviously either make it illegal or try and make it extremely difficult for them to base off that. I would say if you can't find a baseline where you could turn around and tax it sensibly, then you would turn around and go, I would be extremely harsh to basically make it hard for them to do it. 50% tax straight off the bat. Wouldn't give a shit. I'd criminalise it. I'd
if you're not going to criminalise it.
If you're not going to criminalise it, you make it exceptionally unworthy to do so.
Yeah, it'll be, they can do it, but it's extremely expensive, basically.
Yeah. So basically, if they do it, they're going to be out of pocket very quickly, so therefore it becomes unreasonable to do so, or you criminalise it.
Yeah,
and to be quite honest, I would probably turn around if I can't find the baseline. I would immediately go 50% on shares.
Yeah. And I feel that using shares to buy debt.
I should say, not on shares itself, using shares
to buy debt.
To buy debt. Yeah.
And I think that it has to be a conversation where we should start actually talking about how shares to debt should be. That needs to be a public conversation. I think we need a societal conversation about shares to debt. I think that's a necessary point.
I would make it completely illegal because of the fact if you're making money off your shares, you're then taxed on the money you make off the shares. Straight off the bat.
It's definitely a complicated conversation.
Yeah. No, to make it completely simplised so it's easy to understand, if you own shares and you're making money off those shares, it then becomes a personal tax. So therefore you fall into the personal tax bracket and you get taxed accordingly. Straight off the bat. That makes it simple, direct, there's no loophole. Yeah?
As I keep telling you, Chancellor Christopher, waiting in the wings.
Because in order for it to become easy to understand, you need to simplise it. So if you're making money off the shares, it's personal income straight into the personal tax system.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then when it comes to the businesses are completely separate. You earn 3 tax brackets under $1 million, about 20%, between $1 million, $500,000, around 30%, over 500 million, straight off 45. Yeah. Simple as if you try using your shares to make yourself a living off debt, criminalised, illegal.
Or 50% tax.
No, just straight off illegal, because then you can then turn around and own shares and make money off those shares, which then falls into the personalised tax bracket. Bang, done.
Yeah.
No issue.
Yeah. Well, we have come very close to the end of our podcast because we have
almost.
Go on.
One thing that I want to obviously cover. There are a couple other ones, but not really blipping on the radar for the UK because we've already researched them. One that I think that you'll have, John Major's assessment of reform.
Fucking amazing. John Major, you are a legend. There is nothing, I have anything but incredible respect for Sir John Major.
I'll get him to, the clip that he sent me, I'll get him to clip it into this video. Yeah, but I think just the way he worded it was just supreme.
I don't know if I'll actually, what I think I'll do is I'll attach that to the front of our video.
Yeah. And
then I'll have, this conversation will be attached onto it and we'll say, please watch to the end to have the conversation about John Major. Fundamentally, I think John Major was one of the best prime ministers we ever had. He was a salt of the earth kind of Briton. He was not an Eton boy. He worked hard for the British people, and he came on the back of Margaret Thatcher. So many of you kids don't know what he was like.
Stabilising Britain.
Yeah,
after the back of it. Let's get this right. Well, the only thing I remember of John Major, because it was in my younger years, was there was none of this faff that there is today.
And what happened with him with Tony fucking oil salesman Blair? Tony fucking Blair, that cunt definitely needs to get out of politics.
But John Major, in the video that we're obviously tagging in with ours, makes a very, very valid point of regarding reform. So make sure you watch the video. I'm trying to remember the point myself.
What's their culture?
What does culture and what are their goals?
Yeah.
What are their plans? What's their purpose?
Let's be fair. John Major created the Northern Irish peace process. John Major created the Citizens' Charter and policy changes and the Gulf War. John Major was probably one of the best prime ministers we had, peacetime speaking, in my humble opinion. And if you youngsters don't know who John Major is, please look him up. He is one of the few Tory prime ministers who was from a common background. He was what I would call the Christopher of fucking Conservatives. And that's why he's really liked by many of the general populace, because he's one of those kind of salt of earth good people. I will attach that video at the front. I will attach my conversation involving it, so you can get a good idea of what John Major said. I think it's a brilliant thing. You'll see it posted here above me and Chris, probably in the middle.
Yeah.
And that will be attached at the front so you can get an idea. And please stay to the end so you can hear our conversation about what we say about John Major. But as always, I believe this is the end of our podcast of today. Thank you for staying, all of you. I think this is a different style. I like the way that this has been interacted, and we are going to go forward with this, Chris, because for me, you have been more interactional, and I feel that is what we need to do more of.
I think it's partly due to the fact I ain't got so much stress on my shoulders anymore.
Yeah. Not just that, it's more engaging. Do you know what I'm saying? We're engaging each other more, and I think this model, as we've been experimenting with models on our podcast, is really, really much better. As always, I'm John, Sean, or Yoda, depends on who you're asking.
I'm Chris, hope you have a smashing day.
Assalamu alaikum.